Hello, everyone, and welcome to Known Coworking's and SCORE Fairfield County's workshop on the customer journey, Part 1, the customer journey mindset. I'm Peter Talion, the workshop coordinator and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County, and I'll be your host. Our speakers today are Belito, Garcia, and Giulia Gambale. More on our speakers in just a minute. This virtual and in-person workshop is being done in collaboration with Known Coworking, which is providing its facility for the in-person part of the workshop. Barb Nangle from Known is the host at Known Coworking. First, some brief information on SCORE. SCORE is a national organization with about 230 offices, 10,000 volunteers nationally. It is part of the Small Business Administration. SCORE Fairfield County has 100 volunteers with a wide range of industry, process, and subject matter expertise. We offer 3 primary value-added services to small business owners. Number 1, free one-on-one counseling, face-to-face, telephone, email, or video, which can be accessed via the Request Mentor link on our website or via the link on the screen. We provide educational workshops and webinars, such as the one you're involved in today, about 100 per year, and available on replay whenever you need, and extensive resources on our website, including a network of subject matter experts at your disposal. Look for specifics on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. Some useful information about today's event. If you have a question, please use the chat window or the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen during the presentation. It is located in the lower part of your screen. Our workshop will end at 1 p.m. to respect your time. The session is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be available at our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org, within the next couple of days. Now, our speaker. Belito is an exceptional, cool nerd with over 2 decades of expertise in designing, building, and testing websites, databases, desktop applications, and web apps. He honed his skills in various roles, including primary technical point of contact for web hosting and business development for the National Comcast Commercial Network, project manager at Pitney Bowes, associate application specialist at CRF Health, and Director of Technology for the SAHGE Academy. He educates and empowers small and mid-sized businesses with the knowledge needed to identify areas of their venture that can be improved, develop digital strategies that align with their overall business goals and objectives, and to implement tools such as customer relationship management, CRM systems, automation, and analytics to track key performance indicators. Giulia helps small businesses and nonprofits develop strong and results-oriented brand and communications through planning, implementation, consulting, and workshops. Projects include NatureWorks Garden Center, Known, Innovation to Impact at Yale, and Aruba Consulting. She is a program team member, mentor, and instructor for Knownpreneurs, a BIPOC-focused cohort-based training program. Giulia is also working with a NIDA-funded, Yale-related program called Innovation to Impact, an entrepreneurship training program for substance use researchers and other mental health academics. Giulia is passionate about sharing her knowledge. Since 2010, Giulia has co-facilitated Digital Media Sync, a weekly free learning networking event for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and nonprofits, with workshops and guided discussions. In the past year alone, Giulia has live streamed and archived over 60 episodes through the Known live streaming channel. I am delighted and privileged to turn the presentation over to Belito and Giulia. It's all yours. Go ahead, please.
Hi, welcome everybody. So we're just going to jump right in because there's a lot of stuff to cover. And we want to make this as interactive as possible as well. So I'm going to keep an eye on the chat because we are going to ask a few questions. And also, as we go through this presentation, really think about your business and what the customer journey means. We're going to work specifically on the online portion of this. So we'll just keep going. I'm not gonna move. I must have hit the wrong button. My apologies. So one of the first things that we wanted to do was just kind of have you type out a few words about what each of your businesses are, and in the room as well, if you want to just give us a couple of sentences about what you do. So whether you're a brick and mortar, online, transitioning, or a hybrid of both. So I believe you can use the Q&A for that. Okay. Yay. Okay, so online, brick and mortar fence company. You have a company. Have an organization. Design consulting, we have a design consulting company, online based, but also in person. Okay. Great. So we'll take a few more answers. Great. So I'll just let that keep going as we move on to the next slide so that we can cover everything. Today, what we're really going to talk about is what is a customer-centric mindset. Okay, so a customer-centric mindset refers to prioritizing the needs and preferences of the customers throughout the entire online business process. So it involves understanding customer expectations, providing personalized experiences, and continuously improving customer satisfaction. So when we're talking about a brick and mortar business, right, people will come in, they'll see you, they'll see the employees, the looks on their faces, the way that they are being greeted, the way that they are being helped. Online, what we're really talking about, we're going to be talking about doing is going through the process of having that same customer-centric mindset that we're hoping everybody has in their product and service business as well. Want to add anything to that? We're good.
I think you pretty much covered it. Yeah, I think we're good to go to the next slide.
Oops, one last. So some of the things that we're going to talk about as it pertains to what the customer-centric mindset is. And this came from an article that I was reading on HubSpot, actually, and what the customer journey kind of looks like. So the very first thing that we're talking about doing is actually understanding who your target audience is and what their needs are. So often when we understand our target audience, that means that we're doing several different things. We're conducting market research. We're analyzing customer data, gathering feedback, gaining insights into their preferences, their pain points, and expectations. Want to take the next one?
Personalization. So tailoring products and services to be this can include personalized recommendations, customized offers, targetifications, meaning that, you know, when someone comes into your site, that person is not there to greet them. So what is going to greet them? when they come to your site. And some things that you can use are like a pop-up on your site that's, welcomes them, or even in the hero section, you can let them know what it is that that you provide, what service that you provide, or a chat bot on the side of your website on the corner, in the bottom corner, that greets them as well, letting them know that, hi, I'm here, as customer support to help you, or just customer service if you have any questions. And another way to personalize it too is also having a FAQ section. Come in, read that section, and have questions answered without having to actually speak to someone.
Mhm. So as we're thinking about this, and we're going to go through a couple of more examples of what this is, and then further down the line, really take it step by step as to what this would look like. Even if you have a brick and mortar business, you do have a website. And if you don't have a website, you probably have a LinkedIn profile, or you are online on a service based, like an Angie's List or something to that effect. That's still is around. But there is some component that is online, so people can, research you or get in touch with you. So we're taking it from that perspective.
Yeah, and even just speaking of the social, not having a website but having a social presence for your business, you also want to make sure that when people visit your profile online, that it is dedicated to your business, and that it's not, confusing with, your personal life, because that also can, confuse customers and, kind of redirect them to another, potential competitor.
Yeah, exactly. So seamless user experience, what does that mean? It means designing user-friendly websites and mobile apps. And 80% of the people are actually researching on their mobile device, or on an iPad, or a tablet of some sort, as opposed to doing their research strictly on a desktop or a laptop. So making sure that those mobile apps and websites really work very well for for a mobile device. And then interfaces are intuitive, easy to navigate, and provide a smooth customer journey. The other thing that we want to talk about is customer support. So offering efficient and responsive customer support through various channels, such as live chat, email, or phone, resolving customer issues and addressing their concerns promptly, right? So if many of us, let's do a little virtual show of hands as best that we can on the Q&A or the chat, or if you're able to raise your hand. But if you're working by yourself, right, and you're out in the field, you're a solopreneur and you're out in the field doing the work, or you're sitting at your desk doing a website design or something like that, what is it that you have in place for that customer support?
Right. Because a lot of times, you go to someone's website, they might have a phone number on there, and the number is not applicable. Or if the number that you put on the website, it's one of 3 or 4 numbers that you had for your business, and you haven't updated it. So that can frustrate a client or potential customer when they come to your website, and they just have questions, and, they're not able to access. So if they call you and the number no longer works, they might think you're out of business, and that might just be because you forgot to update that, that number on your site, or the number on your site doesn't match the number on your social media profile. And they email you, then they have to wait for you to email them back. At that time, if it's urgent, they're going to move on to another customer. So that's where having like live chat or something integrated with your site and your phone, so that way if they communicate with you via live chat, they call your phone that's on your website or on your social media profile, that you're able to respond to them immediately, or at least have some type of automated system that will reply back to them, so that way you don't lose them. So that's one, another aspect of providing customer support, and making sure that the user has a good experience when they're on your site or visiting.
And then the last kind of section that we'll be going over is continuous improvement, regularly evaluating customer feedback, monitoring customer satisfaction metrics, and implementing necessary changes to enhance the customer experience. So this is all from the perspective of being proactive about what may come up for customers, but also just going ahead and asking them in various different ways. How are we doing? Always checking in. I know that when I do a lot of business consulting and helping people with business plans. And one of the things that I do for my own business first is I check in with myself and making sure that I'm sticking with my core values and with my own mission and my own vision and not get tangled up in the day-to-day work all the time. Same thing with customers, right? Checking in and making sure that what you promised you're delivering is actually happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that touches on your design. The whole process of just thinking what that customer journey is going to be like before you even start building your website. A lot of times we build a website which is more like a digital brochure, but we don't think about what's going to happen when that customer gets on our site and they're trying to communicate with us or trying to purchase something from us. We don't put much thought into it because we're so focused on just getting an online presence and moving on with, with our day-to-day operation.
Correct. All right. So I know we kind of asked this in a different way before, but do you own an online business? And the hint is that the answer is always yes.
But even though the hint is that the answer is always yes, can we just get some feedback or some responses in the chat or in the Q&A section, just letting us know what your thoughts are on your business, and do you consider yourself to be an online business owner, and why?
We can answer in the room as well. So we're doing a hybrid right now, so you'll probably hear when people are speaking their answers, and that might actually help you as well. I know we go through a lot of collaboration when we do these types of workshops, and there might be something that one of us may not have thought about as a business owner within the whole ecosystem, but another may. So providing we're doing the feedback right now, right? Providing feedback and answering these questions are helpful. Do you have an online business, or you do business online, right? Okay, and then you do business online too. Yeah, across borders in two countries. So, and that's another thing to think about too.
Yeah, so we did have a few people that earlier that mentioned they have brick and mortars. Some people, I think RD says that she educates, informs, and influences service locally and globally. So do you have a website, or do you have a social media presence? Just let us know in the chat or in the Q&A section. Okay. So now, do you consider yourself an online business owner? Is the majority online? Okay. I asked that question because I've spoken to people, and one one client that comes to mind. Okay, so I don't consider myself a brick and mortar business. Okay, that's what R&D just said. All right, well, because I was talking to a few people, and during our consultations, one of the questions that I asked them is, do you consider yourself an online business? And the answer was no. But they had a website, and they also had an online presence. But because the majority of their business operations is at their office, they didn't consider themselves to be an online business. And I explained to them that the minute you set up a website and the minute you set up an online presence or social media presence for your business, you are now an online business. And that's where you now have to think about what is that customer journey going to be like when someone goes to visit your website. So if you have a website or any social presence, then you are an online business. The question is, how are you operating?
Correct. So these are some terms that we had used previously, but I really want to look at this from the perspective of a checklist and then going through each of the items on the checklist as far as what to kind of think about. Again, we're talking about mindset now, right? Before we get to the next two classes, we really want to get into our, our business heads right now and think about the customer journey right from understanding who the target audience is, the prospect, right? Before they're even a customer or a client. And then from the perspective of how are you going to reach them online? And we talked a little bit about that, but we're going to go a little bit deeper into that. Addressing needs and questions. When you're talking about specifically website or social media or any kind of platform, ease of navigation. Can people find the services or the products that you provide easily? I usually go by, you can tell me too, the rule of three, right? So if there's 3 packages of services or 3 products that are feature products that really give a good example of what your business is and what it does. Belito had mentioned FAQs, right? Being proactive and understanding what some of those questions may be that come up, or when you're doing your research, what questions do come up a lot.
Yeah, and the thing about, having an FAQ on your site, it just saves you from having to repeat yourself over and over again. Again, most people do have a website just because it's for, like for instance, Andy said that Andy thought it to attract clients. And so when you attract clients, those clients might call you and they might ask you, okay, what are your hours? Do you service this? And do you provide, do you have this product? And having an FAQ will keep you from having to answer those questions over and over. Because if you notice that, I'm always getting these calls and people are asking me these questions during the calls, or people always emailing me these questions in regards to my business, then that's when you take those questions and you set up an FAQ section on your site. So that way you don't have to keep repeating yourself. It just saves you time.
Yep, and then the last 4 items, cart experience, checkout experience, shipping experience, and delivery experience. Now that's mostly product related, but when you're also thinking about service related, or if you're teaching, course options and that sort of thing, I'm actually working on a website right now where there are course options, and we want to make it as simple as possible for people to go through the process of whatever making that purchase looks like, or whatever engaging in that service looks like. So cart experience, meaning can they get from point A, I've decided on a product or service, to the point where you get to the checkout experience, because checkout is a whole different experience. I know oftentimes if I don't have a good cart experience because I'm busy and I want to do this in like less than 20 seconds, I'm not going to be happy. So if it's confusing, and I'll give a couple of examples of that when we get to that particular one. Checkout experience from the moment that you know what the price of something is, and then you have your taxes, and then you have your shipping, making sure that it's very clear and very easy to know, do I pay for shipping? Do I not pay for shipping? Are they going to calculate the taxes correctly? And a lot of these, yes, they are automated in different platforms and systems, but just making sure that it does work, giving it a checkout. Your shipping experience. Some of us are very much into knowing as close to exactly where our items are. So this, again, it's more product based. I get Chewy orders delivered for my dog, delivered once a month. you know, I want to make sure that I'm going to get a notification that on the 22nd of the month, I'm getting one thing, and on the 27th of the month, I'm getting something else. And if there is some trip up in that, I want to know, you know, immediately. And then delivery. And delivery just means when you, what was it, a few years ago, there was a phenomenon, and I guess it's still going on, of unboxing, right? So when you had the social media influencers, or even people at businesses that were getting items from their vendors, they're unboxing. They're taking the shipping box apart and then looking at then it's like, oh my goodness, like, you know, as the vendor, was the quality of my packaging, you know, okay, you know, a good experience. Was it boxed? Was there a thank you card? That sort of thing. So we're going to go over that kind of stuff over the next several slides. Do you want to hit target audience?
Wait, hold on.
So I'm going to ask a question. If everybody feels like they understand who their target audience is, right? Who their potential customers are, who their potential clients are, and then as they're expanding, prospecting for these clients and customers, what it means to actually engage in that expansion or pivot, right? Because sometimes we think we know who we're trying to reach, and it's just not connecting. So then we need to make a pivot and, you know, or a little bit of a change, or even expanding who our audience is, so that, you know, we're continuously making money.
Yeah, and you know, when it comes to target audience as well, if you're, you know, if you're talking about, if someone asks you who your target audience is, and you say everybody, then you need to go back to the drawing board. You shouldn't even, you know, your website, your target audience is gonna direct the design of your site. So just keep that in mind. So you have to think about, if you're selling a product that's for people who are hearing impaired, or, you know, have a disability, you know, like they might be blind, or just, you know, some form of disability, you have to make sure that your site is accessible to them. So if your target audience is everybody, you still have to think about those people with disability, and are they going to be willing to pay for your product? So don't just start building your site and, you know, spend all that money and then turn around and want to buy it. Not.
All right, so then the next item on the agenda, how to greet. And we did talk a little bit about this, right? So greeting customers or prospects on your website is going to be, a, you know, obviously a different experience than when there's a brick and mortar, or when you're meeting up with a client or a customer at a location. So we had talked a little bit about, you know, what are some ways to create a personalized and welcoming experience for your visitors. So it helps to establish a connection with your customers and can lead to increased engagement and conversions, right? So a lot of times when we're talking about it from the perspective of website design and what that looks like, it's more than just looking great and having a good logo and colors that, you know, fit a certain scheme and that sort of thing. It really is making sure that that person feels like they want to connect with you, that potential customer wants to connect with you. And that's really what we're thinking about when we're designing for a customer-centric online business. You know, sometimes it will, I've done for a couple of clients, I've actually put kind of a welcome videos on a site because it made sense for that particular instance to do so. So I know you did that a bunch as well. So what are some things that you've done as far as being
Well, welcome videos are like one of the biggest things that I always recommend. If they don't feel comfortable doing a welcome video, then at least having an image of themselves, especially if you're a service provider, if you're a consultant, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever, it helps to have a picture of you on, somewhere on the site, whether on the about section or even on, on the homepage or hero section, where they can connect with you right away. Have a friendly picture where you're smiling, kind of like feels like they're being greeted by you. So that also.
So I want us to just take 30 seconds to just think about how that very first page, whether it's the home page or a landing page, right? Because oftentimes we won't just work from the perspective of a home page, which is the first page you see if you type it in the URL, but sometimes people will, organizations, businesses will direct to a specific landing page that talks about a specific product or service, which is great, right? Because you're targeting your audience. You're saying, I know that this product or service will really work for these people, these potential customers. But those landing pages as well really can't be bland, right? And it really can't be look like it's templated or something like that. It has to look like you are greeting the customer. When you're on social media or you're doing advertising, and then you say, this is the thing that I want to show you. I think this will really work for you. And then you open up the page, and if it's not friendly or engaging, it's just like, okay, well, I just wanted to hurry up and get your money.
And then, I always tell clients that the most important section of the page is the hero section, or above the fold, meaning that when they first click on your link or type in your URL and they land on your website, but the caption that you have there is also the greeting. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, hey, how you doing? Welcome to my page, but at least be clear in your message as to why they're there. So if I just search for a hair product, yeah, I don't have any hair, but I do. If I do a search for a hair product, it would be for my beard. But if I click on that link and it doesn't say anything about hair products, then I'm going to click away from it. So you have to be making sure that your message is clear, whether it's on your home page or on a landing page for a specific product or a service. You want to be clear that, if you're a dentist, that it says, teeth whitening, keep your smile bright. Something that when they go there, it's like, yes, I'm looking for teeth whitening, or yes, I'm looking for hair product. But if it's just, you know, generic, welcome, it might not really, grab their attention because people right now are like, they're antsy. They want things right when they want it. So it's like when they click on that link, they want to see exactly what they're going to get. So just remember that could be, that's also part of it.
All right, we're going to move on. So again, you're looking from the perspective of your potential customers, your clients, what is going through their minds. So now we're in the, this is a very important section to really think about as addressing needs, right? So addressing customer needs is more about understanding their requirements and providing relevant information and services on your website to meet those needs, right? So the greeting part was really kind of like the personality portion of it, right? When we're talking about the hero image, it's like the first thing that you've seen. But really, really soon after, why did they come to your website? They came to your website to get a certain thing, right? And so this is really interesting for me because there are many companies that I particularly like when I'm looking for outdoor or camping type of equipment, but there's really only one or two that I really want to engage with because I like that it's user friendly, right? And we always talk about the customer experience, the user experience, right? UX and that sort of thing. But if you pull away from the technical terms, what it really comes down to is, do I feel like my needs are being addressed right away? So we're going to dive do a little bit of a dive into that.
And I think, it goes back to what I said in the last slide, is understanding that when they go to your site, they want to know right away, will this site address my needs? So if what you have above the fold doesn't match what you're offering, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose that client, the customer, potential customer, whoever it is that is looking for your product or service. You're going to lose them right away because at the moment they land on your site.
All right, ease of navigation.
Have you ever gone to a website and you're all excited, you get to the website, but you have to scroll all the way like almost to the bottom of the site to just to find what you're looking for? So that's just poor design. If you look at some of the top sites right now, when you go to the site, right above the on the navigation bar, you'll either have phone number, which is call us now, a button that says schedule consultation, or something on right there on above the fold that's going to direct you to exactly what you need, whether it's a service buy now, order now, schedule now, because they want to make it so easy for you, where you don't have to scroll through the site to get to the button that says buy now or schedule consultation. So that's what so easy navigation is referring to how easily users can find and access different sections, pages, and features on your website, and it's crucial for a seamless user experience, because it can significantly impact the success of your online business. If your site is not navigable, then yeah, it will not
Yeah.
it will not produce happy returning clients. People will talk about you.
And then and that's the thing too, right? Because I know, again, for me, I'm gonna take myself out of my business role for a minute and be in a customer role for a minute, for that period of time. When I go to websites, again, looking for things, I know that I wanted to switch out meal subscription services just to kind of see, what's available. I'm a vegetarian, so I go to HelloFresh and I know, boom, here are my vegetarian options. They look beautiful. I can get to them one click. All I need to see are vegetarian options. I went to other sites that were they were actually advertised to me on Facebook. And it was like, oh, I see that you like vegetarian options, da da da. Well, click on this link. I clicked on the link. I was confused.
Yeah.
It showed me 6 logos. I didn't know where to go from there. And the first thing I did was get off of that site. And the second thing I did is when I saw the ad again, I just said, your website is very confusing. I don't know where to go for my options.
Right. Yeah. I mean, speaking of restaurant, the first thing that you want to see on a restaurant when you go to a restaurant website is the menu button, because you already know, okay, I want pizza, so let me look at the
I want to
menu,
eat, and I know what I want to eat.
so I can order what I want, what I want to order. So if that menu button is not there and you have to scroll through the site to find a menu, it's gonna get frustrating, especially when you're hungry. You want to order something. So that's just remember that when you're speaking to someone, a web designer, well, I'm saying someone, but when you're speaking to someone, web design, or even an agency who does web design for you, these are some of the questions that you have to also keep in mind. Not just we're speaking of mindset, but you also have to where's their mindset? Because if they're telling you that I can build you this website, but they're not asking you about these things, then that's also something to to consider. Like, okay, go to the next guy, because they never asked me about navigation. They didn't ask me about usability and accessibility or anything like that. If they just ask you what are your colors, what are your fonts, and then that's it, then you You might have to consider
Another option.
another option.
So I just want to remind us that as we're going through this, to just kind of think about what that user experience is, put yourself in the position of the customer or of the client as that you're targeting at that time, because these are things. And I would say I know when I do a final check-in on websites, I'll actually think about it from the perspective of the customer. So I remember one time we had revised a customer's one of our customers' websites from being more geared towards brick and mortar to more geared towards being able to purchase online. So we went through the whole process, the whole customer journey of when I open up the website, what do I see? You know, if I'm searching for a particular product, what does it look like when that product shows up on the website? When I go through the cart experience, I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of times when I do analytics on websites where they're like, we're just not getting the sales that we were getting before. The problems are in the last bit of the last area, the cart. The cart and the checkout are always where people are just like, nope, this is not working for me.
That's where you get the abandoned cart situation.
Mm-hmm. All right, FAQs. Just do this, take a minute or two on this because we did kind of talk about it a little bit, and I think we have like 4 more to go. So an FAQ page is a dedicated place for educating, informing, and updating customers about your products or services. So this is kind of like just those ongoing questions that everybody, you know, seem to have or come up with. And a great place to start with an FAQ is if you are online, say you're on Facebook, if you're on a platform that allows for FAQs there, and that is the first place where a lot of customers or a lot of prospects will go to, go ahead and plug those in.
Yeah.
It's there for a reason. I know a lot of people have love-hate relationship with platforms and with platforms as a business, right? Because they say, I don't get as much interaction with their business profile as I do with the personal profile. The thing to do is just to build that profile up as much as possible, because the algorithm picks that up and that platform loves it when you use that platform.
Yeah.
The more you use the platform, the more they're gonna, you know, they're going to push
your content.
Push your content out.
Yeah.
That was like a little extra hint. That's a whole other class.
Yeah. I'm fighting. I'm trying to hold myself going in on it. We don't have enough time for all that.
So cart experience, right? And we kept like peppering this in about the cart experience. So implementing a cart experience is essential in allowing customers to easily add and manage products on your website before proceeding to checkout, and really thinking about what is necessary to fulfill that that particular checkout experience. Oftentimes, and this also goes all the way back to whatever that product and service is, right? So if it's a product that has sizes and colors and, you know, other things that you have to choose, make sure that that's all done ahead of time. And by the time you get to the cart, you really don't have to ask any other questions. It's just like, this is in the cart, we're cool, let's keep going.
You know, and then when it comes, I mean, when you're custom, when you're yeah, but anyway, the focus is really when you hire someone to help you with your online presence, or even if you're doing it yourself, take the time to go in and test all the buttons, all the links, and especially with your cart experience, you know, put it on test mode, whatever shopping cart you're using, put it on test mode and just go in there and click away at it. Because that's gonna help you later when you go live. Because a lot of times you'll find a lot of the, the breaks within that, that journey of, selecting your product and then, adding it to the cart and then checking out. You'll find some of those mistakes yourself. And when you do that, trust me, your customers will thank you because they'll keep coming back.
Yep. All right. So we had mentioned that the cart experience and the checkout experience are two different, right? The cart experience is, okay, I put all my items over here. And if that cart experience is not a good experience, or people get distracted and don't get reminded, you're never going to get to the checkout experience. I have stuff in carts across the world because it was like, okay, I'm going to wait on that. So you really have to find a way to capture all of that. And again, there are ways, you work on those, of reminding people that they have things in carts.
Yes, because I mean, depending on what plugin or software that you're using, look into their features because a lot of them do offer automated features that allow you to send out messages to people who abandon their carts, and that will save you. Not save you, but it'll also increase your revenue because people do walk away from their computers. People who have a short attention span. They're on their phone and they're on your site and they're looking to buy something and then they get a Facebook notification or some type of notification. They click on it. Now they're off your site and they go on about their day. But if you have some type of system that allows you to automate and send reminders, that will simplify the user experience and make it even more user friendly because they'll be like, oh snap, I forgot, let me go back and complete that purchase. Because what I've seen happen in the past is that someone went to one site and selected a pair of shoes or a product and then got distracted and then later on went to another site and bought those same pair of shoes because they never got notified that they abandoned their cart. So just think about that. That's something to keep in mind when it comes to the checkout experience. Simplifying it so that way they know what they're getting and they can see what they're getting and that there aren't any surprises, and then making sure that it's secure.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when they go to pay, that their information is not just out in the cyber world.
Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to mention is somewhere between the checkout experience and the shipping experience that I personally experienced today with my doggy subscription stuff with Chewy, which is I have something on auto ship, and I wanted to add something to that order. So it says add to order. And I clicked on add to order and I knew what I wanted to get. So I searched for it and I went to grab it. Well, now I'm in limbo because I don't know if I just reordered something and then ordered the new thing and it started anew. So I have auto ship number 1, auto ship number 2, and now I'm down to auto ship number 5.
Oh.
And I was like, what's this? Am I getting 2 44-pound bags of dry dog food and the one thing that I wanted?
Right.
So when it says add to order, I'm thinking it's going to add to my auto ship order. It wasn't clear, right? This goes all the way back to ease of use. Now I have to contact them and say, am I getting double charged for one of my items? Why is it starting a new order? I wanted to add to the cart of my old order. I wanted it to go. So then I did have to cancel that order and I did have to call, right? So this is an example of a customer who's not happy right now.
Yeah.
So there you have it. So that's an example of that process. That's a big company. And that process broke down, right? Where it says like, okay, we know that you have this bag of dog food and you can add to that order. And I was like, okay, well, I want to order the Halloween toys for my dog. And it turned into a probably 2-hour debacle because I was like, all right, well, now I got to do this first, and now I have to go back to my order, and then I have to do something else, and I have to go back to the order. So these are the types of things that we're talking about. Smooth process from cart to checkout to shipping, which we're going to go to next. That was like the longest segue.
Shipping experience involves the process of managing and fulfilling orders made by customers on an e-commerce website. It also includes various aspects like order processing, inventory management, shipping carrier integration, packaging, package tracking, and customer communication. And the shipping experience for myself as a service provider, it's making sure that if I offer you, download this free checkout list, and then you click on the download button to get the checkout list, and it doesn't take you to the checkout list, or it doesn't give you like a form to fill out. But most likely, if you go somewhere and they're giving you a free whatever, you're going to ask for your email address. So then you put in your email address and you hit submit, and now the email doesn't come right away.
Mm-hmm.
Or the download feature doesn't pop up on your computer for you to download this, free book or free checkout list, whatever. That gets frustrating because it's like, okay, that's part of the shipping experience from a service, um, from a service provider. Whereas you go to download something and it doesn't download right away, email doesn't come through, or it ends up in your spam folder, which is another issue that'll be a whole nother class.
Right.
Talk about that. So just remember in your shipping experience that you also have to, keep in mind that if you're providing a service that people are able to download whatever it is that you're offering them right then
Right.
and there.
And then when you're talking about service as well, that's a whole other issue. Obviously, there's not going to necessarily be a shipping experience but if you are,
Well, that is a shit.
that is the shipping. Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking, I was like, no, you're right. Let's be quiet now. That one. All right. And then your delivery experience, right? Making sure that those deliverables make.
So I went to a site before and I went to download the book and I put my information in, went to download it. I got a link, and then when I clicked on the link, it was telling me I needed permission to access it. So I was like, well, how do I get permission?
Yeah.
It's like, so that person didn't think about making sure that they use, like, they were using the cloud system, they were making sure that they use the cloud system that didn't require for permissions to access that file, or at least making sure that it was a readable file. So just if you're using Google Clouds or Dropbox or anything like that to deliver your electronic products, make sure that people are able to download it without any issue, and having to send you an email saying, I don't have access or any permission to the file. So that's one way to, that since we're talking about online businesses, I'm speaking about, online products right now. But, of course, if you're shipping product physically, then, making sure that experience also is a friendly experience and a fun experience where their shipment doesn't take longer than expected, and that when they get their order, that it's not broken. Or,
Right.
bad.
And that brings up another thing that we didn't even add in here, which is basically scheduling, right? So if you're scheduling an appointment with somebody or you're scheduling a service, making sure that that is also user friendly and easy to do. I know for me, I went through a couple of different options for calendars, which is something, for my business, if I'm doing a consultation or that sort of thing, and I don't see that somebody just signed up with me and that date and time passes, I just lost a potential client. So, It's basically just make sure everything works
Right.
and do it repeatedly.
That.
All right. So we're at the end. We did pretty good. 5 minutes to
5 minutes.
spare. But actually more than that, especially if anybody has any questions. So if you feel like you have gotten useful knowledge from this presentation, or if you still have questions, this is how you can reach each of us.
And again, we're just getting warmed up, getting started. This is just the, introductory
Mhm.
workshop, or I guess, yeah, it's just introductory. This is, day one of, well, part one of three-part series, and just getting warmed up and started. We're going to go deeper into a lot of the topics that we went over today in the next two classes, or workshops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can find that on SCORE, of course, and then the events, look on the social media as well, pick that up. And I think at this point, we'll open up to any questions that you might have or comments. And that means in the room too.
Oh, yeah.
So, part of the website is trying to get their customers involved, and the marketing is out there. The public side, those are questions. So, into the site. So a lot of times, you look at the site, honestly, whether or not, because it's the sign up. And question mark is the sign understanding to all. So this young old art, forming and creative art. But the entity, when it comes down to the sign up, it becomes a question of we're not finished up sign up. Why not finished up sign up?
Yeah.
Well, depend, I guess.
So the question is, just in case people can't hear, is how do you know if people are finishing up the sign up or not, and what to do if they don't finish up the sign up? Like, what does that look like?
The a lot of times they're not finishing the sign up. Question why? What's the problem? Why
Why are they not life?
So I mean, like, I guess one, because I think that you mentioned that the target range, the age range is from young to old. So again, that's a very broad range. So maybe the message that you're delivering to get people to that page is not clear. So you're getting people of all ages, and then when they get there, it's like, oh, this is me, and they drop off. So I mean, that's one thing to look at.
Well, I probably gotta see it.
Yeah, without being able to see it, it's kind of hard to say. But I mean, look at the data and see how far are they getting on this form before they drop off. If they're completing the form and then dropping off at, how much money do you make a year, or what's your social security number?
then it's like, yeah, maybe we don't. Yeah.
Maybe we need to change that question.
So this is based on the customer where we're given.
Yeah.
And so you have to sign up for it
To get the funds that are being provided.
So therefore, it's a little difficult because they're not necessarily complete to know there's money involved. The question mark is, is this too much for them to fill out? Does this become a complicated that they're filling out? So that's question mark. Why can't they print application to get money or to get part of it? And so that's where I'm at with
Okay.
All right, we'll get to your question We just like to thank everyone who was in attendance this afternoon. And again, our information is on the last slide right there. If you'd like to get in touch with us, have any more questions or whatever, just, you want to just check us out. Our information is there, and be on the lookout for session 2.
Yeah, so session 2 is actually going to be 2
In 2
weeks.
weeks.
2 weeks from today, which is October 4th. Yeah. I'll be like.
Okay. So thank you for your time, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. That ends our webinar.